Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chatting Pitch. This is me, Leslie, and...
This is me, Matt. Thank you for joining us. If this is the first episode you're listening to, thank you for choosing us on this day, this fine day that we are having on this day of recording.
It is a fine day, isn't it? It's actually not too bad. It's not. There's not a lot of rain. There's not a lot of clouds either. It's quite sunny. Depending on where you are, like how's it on your end?
I'm fine over here. I'm wondering how the weather is for the listener, because of course we're recording in December and we don't know when they're listening.
No, this is most likely going to be coming out in probably February or something like that. We're a little bit...
Well, hopefully things are good in February.
You know when people always plan ahead? We've planned way ahead. So we don't know what the world's going to be like. For all we know, the world could be in a better place. Or I might be jinxing that. By the time you listen to this, the world could be even worse, but we don't know.
It could just be...
We don't want to make... Go on.
I was thinking it could just be, an apocalyptic landscape, and there's just a lone speaker somehow plugged into the last source of power, and it's just putting this out.
Oh, mate, please don't. We have not stooped that low.
That's just in case there is an apocalypse, and I'd like that to be the last sound that recorded humanity makes, just in case.
Just to clarify to the audience, that wasn't true flatulence. That was just Matthew blowing a raspberry into the microphone.
It was false flatulence.
Yeah. FF. Oh, that's almost a teaser of what we're going to be talking about today.
Fantastic Four? Oh, no. Something different.
Final Fantasy? Oh, no. Ooh. No, not that one either.
Oh.
French fries. French fries 7.
Today we are chatting chips.
That's very good. Or, depending on where you are, it could be chatting fries. Or
which don't really work. So
is there another name for chips in another country?
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know.
In case you're wondering, in case the listeners...
Chatting Fritz.
Chatting Fritz.
I think
that's very true.
That's France.
That's French. Yeah. Well, that's Fritz. Is Fritz chips or crisps?
I don't know. Let's not mislead our French audience here.
Pommes frites. I'm pretty sure that's chips.
Yeah. Fritz. Fries. French fries.
Fries. Yeah. So
or simply fries, chips, finger chips. Who calls them finger... Who has ever said, a bowl of finger chips, please?
I don't know.
Like, what does that mean? Do you want like a bowl of nail clippings? What does that mean? That's horrible.
Do you know what they call it in Japan?
Go on.
I think it's like American potato or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure it's accurate. It's something like that, American potato, or it could be French fries. But I'm not even joking in terms of the pronunciation, because the way that the Japanese spell out things phonetically, they've got their own alphabet. So everything sounds very broken up, like McDonald's is McDonald's.
Okay, right, I'm with you.
So that's why I just kind of guess.
Stuff that gets imported doesn't necessarily get translated. It's just what it's called in the country where it comes from with a Japanese accent.
For anyone who doesn't know, in the UK we call fries chips. I assume our audience is probably from all sorts of places around the world, but you've got French fries, you've got pommes frites, you've got American dogu. And that's actually hot dog. American dogu is the name for corn dogs in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the only way I know that is because they sell them at 7-Elevens. And it is literally, every time I say, I want a corn dog, they'll reply with, yes, American dogu. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay. One American dog, please.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about... I don't know, do you want to reveal it, or shall I reveal it? I'm just going to do it.
Go ahead.
We're going to be talking about a couple of Vin Diesel movies. And why have we chosen Vin Diesel? Well, we find him quite an amusing character. He's got his own sort of aura about him. And he's also made some questionable movies, some of which have been very well received, and others not so much. You can decide which one is which, but in our opinion, is, I'll tell you after the jingle.
name is Vin Diesel, and this is episode 10.
And we're back. This week we're going to be talking about Vin Diesel movies, specifically 2 Vin Diesel movies, and Matt didn't see them before in his past life of being alive.
No, in my past life, before I became me last week, I had not seen them. Not out of not enjoying Vin Diesel movies, I just hadn't happened to see them. There are some movies he's done that are amazing. I do like a bit of Guardians of the Galaxy. I also like a bit of The Iron Giant back in the day.
The thing is, those 2 movies, Vin Diesel isn't heavily featured in those films. I mean,
No.
Iron Giant, yes, he does voice the Iron Giant, but barely. Like he does some things, but he's not really the main focus in terms of his own aura and personality. Like you don't see Vin Diesel's
these are 2
face.
movies that definitely have got sort of Vin Diesel's fingerprints.
Yeah,
For lack of a better word.
yeah. But not even. I mean, when I watched Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time, I didn't think, "Oh, Vin Diesel's doing a great job with his voice." It's just 3 words, isn't it? But then if you look at the, have you ever seen the behind-the-scenes footage of him recording the "I Am Groot" lines?
Right.
He really goes.
Yeah.
He goes ham into doing those performances, and he's very. He does a lot of body movements, but then he also boasts the fact that he recorded it in multiple languages. So
Right.
he's the only one of the whole cast who's actually done
Groot.
something like that. Yeah, and he's done probably like 20 languages or something like that. But he can just do those lines.
Ich bin eine Groot. All the languages.
Yeah. For some reason, the Germans also sound like Mayor Quimby from The Simpsons.
I am here today to say Ich bin eine Groot.
What would that look like if it was Mayor Quimby, Vin Diesel, Groot, and a German person mixed into one?
Well, instantly the German part would look horrified.
Yeah.
Have you not? Do you not remember that sort of semi-famous speech by JFK? The Ich bin ein Berliner.
Ich bin eine Groot. Let's just not get into that, and let's move on. The movies that we watched. Well, I've actually seen these movies before in the past, so I had no need for rewatching them. But however, I did go through some highlights on the old YouTube just to refresh my memory. And the first movie that I guess we can just talk about, which is the less interesting of the 2, is Fast and Furious 7, or as they call it, Furious 7, which I still don't really understand what the logic is behind the chronology of each movie, because it goes The Fast and the Furious, 2 Fast, 2 Furious. You think the third one would be 3 Fast, 3 Furious. No, it's Tokyo Drift. And then the fourth one becomes Fast and Furious. Oh, they've dropped the V's. Remember that was a big thing where they just...
Yeah, but that's what they do with movie titles. You know, we've got The Batman, The Suicide Squad. It's just Fast and Furious doing it the other way around.
Yeah,
they're dropping theirs all over the place.
All way ahead of its time. And then the 5th one, they just got lazy and just said, "Oh, it's called Fast 5." And then the 6th one was called, was it Furious 6? Was it?
I'm not sure.
And then, or something like that. And then Furious 7, and then the 8th one, you would think, oh, they're going to call it Fast 8 or Furious 8. No, it's called The Fate and the Furious, because fate rhymes with 8. And the movie execs really thought they were being clever on that one.
And then the 9th film was them all getting fined for speeding. So it was fine.
Yeah, fine. The movie's just fine.
Furious fine.
Furious fine. In space.
Do you know how fast you were going?
It's just... They've all converted it to speed.
It's not about how fast you go. It's about family. You know you were going 3,000 miles per hour over the speed limit. I don't know who this guy is. Just one lone traffic cop.
Man, you're really having fun with this character, aren't you? This traffic enforcer guy.
Where's Tyrese Gibson?
Give me back my money. So this is going to be the review section of the episode where I'd like to hear what Matt's thoughts were of Furious 7 or Fast 7 or however the hell you want to call it. The reason why I gave you this one, Matt, was because I just felt like that was the penultimate Fast and Furious as to what it's become.
Okay.
It started off as drag racing and they were just kind of like stealing CD players or whatever. I don't really know what the first ones were about because I never really watched them all the way through. But I remember starting off as... I think I started off on Fast and Furious 5. And then I skipped number 6. And then I went and watched number 7. And I don't know...
So
I think maybe it was because...
You didn't watch Furious Fix?
I didn't watch Furious Fix, no.
No.
I did not watch Furious 4.
But you watched Furious Fen, which I believe is a type of bird.
I don't know why they didn't call it Furious. Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Incredible.
They've missed out so many opportunities.
So I didn't really pay attention too much about the whole series, but it was number 7 that really stood out to me being quite frankly funny to me.
Right.
I was laughing my head off in the cinema just thinking this is just absolutely ridiculous, but I don't know how you felt. What's your first impressions about the movie?
You know what? Similar to Triple X Return of Xander Cage.
Yeah.
It's got bits in it that I think really work.
Yeah.
But it's got other bits in it that are just dumb as... I know we try not to swear, but some of it's just really dumb.
Could you give me an example? Because let's just go ahead and say spoilers here. Because if you haven't seen Fast and Furious 7, don't listen to this part. But we're going to get into heavy spoiler territory. But before we totally go into spoilers, obviously people know what this is about. I forgot what I was going to say. The movie is just essentially cars racing, and then there's a plot about something where someone has to get something out of somewhere. It's like a heist movie. But to be honest, there's not really that much that needs to be, unless you're if you just got up to Fast and Furious 6 and you're thinking, this podcast will probably have some juicy details about the next one. No, we're going to completely spoil it. What are you going to say? What are you thinking, Matt?
I mean, I've got some notes here. One of the bits early on, there's a bit where Jason Statham's character, Deckard Shaw, great name by the way. He's talking to, I think it's Dwayne Johnson's character, and he starts a line of dialogue with "like I said." But it's the first time he then says the thing that he goes to say. I'm sure of it. I watched it and I thought, has he already said that before? So I rewound it. Not normally how I like to watch movies, but I rewound it just to make sure. And I'm sure it's the first time he actually says what he's saying. And that's what I mean by there are bits of the film that are just like, it doesn't make any sense. Not even in the world of Fast and Furious 7, where, cars can jump between buildings and things like that. That I'll accept, but just inconsistencies, I guess.
Well,
but there are bits that work.
What does he say following that? Like I said, is it just something that just doesn't make any sense?
The bit that comes afterwards does make sense, but he's saying, like I said. Well, no, it's the first time you've said it. But it just jumped out at me. I don't know.
It's like, Jason Statham, how are you going to get out of this mess? Like I said, winners are always never quitters. And then, is there some sort of hammy one-liner that he says after that? Or is it something plot heavy?
I have a feeling it's him explaining what he's going to do.
Right.
Because it's early on in the movie. He's just downloaded some stuff from Dwayne Johnson's computer. Dwayne Johnson, he's just a normal desk-clothing policeman wearing his Under Armour.
Yeah.
And Jason Statham ejects the USB correctly. He right-clicks on the icon, ejects USB, and then they get in a punch-up. But just before the punch-up, he explains what he's doing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's the dialogue. I've got a note that says, is it that the dialogue is dumb or that it sounds dumb coming out of certain people?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that...
Because there are some lines that I think on paper, actually, it kind of works. But that person...
Yeah.
I don't want to name names because that just seems a bit needless. But there are certain lines in this film that I just think if someone else said that, it could get a pass. But out of your mouth, it sounds incredibly stupid.
And by your mouth, you mean Jason Statham.
Not Jason. I actually quite like Jason Statham in this. There's
Right.
How have I put it? I like Deckard Shaw's like screw you energy and drive. There's like a consistent thing throughout the film where he does act the way his character would act, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it's, oh, why are the Oscars overlooking Furious 7? But
Just
what
so
I mean
we're
is
clear,
just go on.
Just so we're clear, Jason Statham is the villain of this film, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure. Okay.
But
so,
yeah,
sure.
he's just got this drive where it's just it doesn't matter how I'm going to get this done, but I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of like him in this.
Sure.
Certain other people, I'm not sure. I mean, part of the way through the movie, Tyrese Gibson's character is called like the Joker of the group. Is he though?
What is he? Is he the Joker?
Well,
I remember.
Is Tyrese Gibson supposed to be a Joker, or is he the Joker?
And there's going to be some sort of Fast and Furious DC universe crossover.
Oh my lord!
Where all the people from Suicide Squad gets to drive cars, and then they do it the other way around, where all the Fast and Furious characters get superpowers.
Well, they're all superheroes anyway.
To be honest, there is this one
not?
bit towards the end that really stood out to me, and I can never forget the fight between Jason Statham and Vin Diesel on the rooftop, where their idea of a showdown is to drive each other's cars into each other.
Yes.
But the catch is Vin Diesel's car is heavily reinforced with really high grade material, and after that they crashed the cars together. And that obviously didn't do anything. So they got out of their cars and they just get these comically large spanners and start like smashing each other.
It's like a cartoon, isn't it? It's like a cartoon.
Yeah. I think Jason Statham, he rips off shards from his car.
Yeah.
But then what's Vin Diesel's equivalent? Oh, he's just got some massive spanners.
He's got some massive spanners ready. Oh, I just had these in the back.
They just do this really like hammy cartoon anime jump where they almost freeze frame in the air as they're jumping at each other. Yeah, they have this big fight, like a sword fight, but it's a spanner fight, essentially.
Yeah. And to top it off, they have that line that the street always wins.
The street always wins.
So dumb. So dumb.
Meanwhile, The Rock is it The Rock or someone comes up in a helicopter and starts shooting down the rooftop?
There's another bad guy. There's like secondary bad guy who.
Oh, don't forget about the part where The Rock grabs a machine gun or a turret off of a helicopter and starts shooting down a drone. That was a highlight that I remember. Was that in the same movie?
Yeah. He has a.
About that bit where he flexes out of that cast though.
Yes. That wasn't as over the top as I thought it was going to be, but it's still quite, yeah. I mean, there's a secondary bad guy in a helicopter, played by I think I'm pronouncing this right, Jeman Hunsu, who I think he's one of those that he keeps turning up as secondary bad guys.
Yeah.
Same with Guardians. I think he turns up in that. He has like a supporting role in Gladiator, where he's not a bad guy, but it's still a supporting role.
Yeah.
And, I like a bit of him, and I don't know why he's not getting more major roles in sort of Hollywood movies.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him he had a bigger role in one of those early 2000 movies, which I think he wasn't he in Blood Diamond? He was quite heavily featured in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Blood Diamond. Yeah.
Pretty sure he was in Blood Diamond. And he was also in Constantine, which was a Keanu Reeves vehicle, where they tried to do the whole, he's a exorcist vampire killer kind of guy. I don't think it went down too well, but it's kind of developed a cult following over time.
But yeah, I just feel he's a bit underrated. There was a bit, it's about halfway through, they've just kidnapped the person they need to work the the MacGuffin device that they're after. They need this person who's created it.
Yep.
Vin Diesel's got her in the car, but they're surrounded on all available sides by, men with large guns.
Right.
So Vin Diesel decides to do some donuts. So he kicks up the dust so they can't aim and shoot at them. And I thought, okay, clearly he's got some sort of a plan.
Yeah.
But then he just drives off the cliff. and I thought there was still hope. As they were sailing through the air, I thought, okay, something's going to happen here. Like someone is going to come by on a helicopter and they're going to jump out and grab a ladder or something. And then they just smashed into the ground, and that was the plan. It just had the air of like, don't worry, I'll get us out of this. He just drove off a cliff.
I don't remember that part. I honestly don't. Is that the bit where Paul Walker is also on the edge of a cliff as well?
There's a bit beforehand, which I quite like the way it's shot, because I got a real sort of sense of vertigo as sort of half a bus has started going off the cliff, and he's at the end. He's hanging off the bus.
Yep.
That's hanging over the edge of this cliff. So yeah, that's just before.
Okay, that is just before. See, the whole movie, like, I probably should have rewatched the whole thing, but I saw this in the cinema when it came out. It was like a pre-screening or a preview kind of thing.
Right.
And I just, a lot of key moments have just burned into my brain, even though I've only just seen it once. Oh, let's talk about the tower jump with the car going from one building into another building. And oh no, car's going too fast. We have to go into another building.
Yeah, the brakes don't work. I should speed up and do another jump.
There's no possible way of getting out of this one.
Yeah.
Well, they got out of the car in the third building, so they could have just got out in the second building.
Yeah, they could have done. You know what? I wanted to talk about that bit in terms of it's almost backwards, because what they're selling the movie on is fast car chases, insane over the top action. But actually, I kind of found those bits boring, and what I liked are actually some of the bits in between. There's a bit where I can't remember her character's name now. I'm going to look it up. Sorry, mate.
Is it Michelle Rodriguez? Is it the one?
Yeah.
But she doesn't come up until the very end, I think.
She's in it towards... Well, she leaves for about 15 minutes and then comes back. Sorry, Letty is her character. Sorry, I don't really know many of these characters very well.
That's okay. It's all about family. So if you're not part of the family, then
Mr. and Mrs. Furious. But yeah, there's a bit where it's Letty and Vin Diesel's Dominic Toretto are in a lift, and they're on their way to the big billionaire party where they're going to try and steal this thing that they need. And there's a bit where Vin Diesel talks about like being uncomfortable in his tuxedo. And it was just a little moment, but I thought that is just a little insight into his character. It just made him a bit more human. And I thought it's strange that those little bits are working for me. But actually the car chases, particularly the car chase coming out of there's a funeral early on, and there's a car chase straight out of the graveyard, which just seemed incredibly boring. Incredibly boring.
Are you telling me that you found it really boring?
It works as a drama, but not as an action film.
So you like the drama bits more than you liked the action bits?
Well, not all of them, but it's just I didn't find the action that...
How did you find the really... there's this really odd flashback of a wedding scene towards the end. Do you remember this part?
Right.
And that's supposed to fill up some holes in terms of like plot lines throughout all the franchise series. And I think didn't Dominic Toretto, like aka Vin Diesel, he gets knocked out by this giant explosion from Hulk smashing the building. Do you remember? Like,
yeah.
Like the only way to
and they have the obligatory stupid CPR moment where instead of letting Paul Walker's character do what he's trained to do and provide life-saving CPR, she goes, no, I'd rather shout in his ear. Oh, but of course it works because it's a movie.
Yeah, of course.
Can movies just stop doing that now? It's incredibly stupid.
But excuse me, Matt.
Live,
I do have to point
live, please live.
I do have to point out the fact that you're arguing, you're arguing the logic of a movie that has cars coming out of a plane and having parachutes that slowly land, and then they just somehow land safely and start driving off into the freeway.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah. So I don't think logic really matters here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't forget that moment where Dominic Toretto, he's had this concussion, but then he remembers where Letty comes from, and then there's like, oh, we had this wedding, didn't we? And they flash back, and he's wearing like a wife beater at this wedding.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
It's like it is his wedding version of. It's like it looks pressed. It's white.
Yeah.
It's clean as anything, but it's cut up. It's like I have got it down somewhere. It might even.
But it's like a really romantic setting, but Dominic Toretto's just there in his normal clothes. It just seems very, very strange to me. That's apparently a bit of a sore thumb in terms of storyline wise, because Michelle Rodriguez, her character dies halfway through the series, but she just suddenly comes back.
Right.
And I don't really think it's even been explained as to why. And even in apparently Fast and Furious 10, one of the characters that died in Fast and Furious 3 comes back. Unexplained. I don't know why he's back again.
But again, we're looking for logic in something that is by nature illogical.
That is very, very true.
But it's funny how similar these two films are that we're looking at.
I forgot Luke Evans was in this film. What did he do?
Yeah, he turns up for 2 seconds because he's Shaw's brother, so he's in hospital.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
All wired up.
Oh,
and things.
don't forget Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's in this film.
I know. Talking about Belgian ale.
Doesn't he? Does he? He dies, right, in the film.
He almost dies and then gets picked up by a helicopter, I think, and then that's the last you see of him.
Oh, let's not forget the blatant product placement of Corona. Do you remember that?
Yes. I did think early on, is this Monster Energy drink the movie? Because there's a lot of that in the first 5 minutes. But yeah, Corona definitely.
I just remember there was a bit where he meets someone in a garage, and he goes, "I can't carry on with this unless I have a nice, refreshing, cold Corona." I'm paraphrasing here. He probably didn't say that, but I just remember him making a big deal of the fact that he needs to drink a Corona.
Yeah.
And
I think it's Kurt Russell offers him Belgian ale, and he's like, "This is the best drink in the world," and he's like, "I'm more of a Corona man," and he just gets a bucket, like an ice bucket full of Corona out.
Yeah.
From nowhere.
Now we're talking.
Okay. I mean, have you got any other notes that you want to? Because we got to move on to the next movie.
I mean,
eventually. But what else have you got?
It's just I feel like the action scenes were just sort of there. They happened.
There was action scenes with story built around it. That's what I feel.
Which is you would have thought it'd be the other way around. You would have thought it would have just been story to get us to the next place, which it kind of was. But then the action scenes would be really good. I mean,
they probably thought,
it's a strange...
we need a moment where cars come down from the sky in parachutes, and also a car drives through 3 buildings. What can happen around that?
Yeah, and it's strange because there are bits that really, there are bits that really work in this movie. But I found it hard to love. I liked it. I found it very hard to love though, especially bits where like the character points out there's a convoy, there's a couple of Jeeps or something, a couple of Humvees in back, and there's a couple of Humvees in the front, and in the middle there's like a big bus.
Yeah, and
someone points out that the person they're trying to save is on the bus. Well, where else are they going to be? Why have they bought a bus here? Are they moonlighting, taking tourists round the scenic spots? Oh, we've got a kidnapping victim in the Humvee, but Mr. and Mrs. Doris from Kent have paid for, a return ticket to get up the mountain and take a picture at the top and come back. So we'll take all the tourists on the bus and we'll take the Humvees with them.
I think they're foreshadowing a future bus episode of Fast and Furious.
There is foreshadowing of this. Foreshadowing, of course, the illusion of structure. Vin Diesel asking us to use our own rearview mirrors. See how life works as we ourselves travel down our own paths, sometimes fast, sometimes
wrote down a whole quote.
I wrote down a whole note on that, yeah. That'll bring us to Triple X, I think.
Yeah.
know what's funny though?
Yep.
The two films are so similar that I that's why I had to have these notes, or one of the reasons why.
Right.
But also in both movies, Vin Diesel has the fashion choices of Mac from Always Sunny, which is nice to know.
Oh, yeah, no sleeves.
No sleeves, maybe a tie at the same time.
But let's move on. Yeah, let's move on to Triple X, and let's talk
Sure.
about how you felt about that one. Because, in my opinion, I feel like Triple X is probably the more enjoyable one out of the two.
Oh, definitely. I think I said to you just before we started recording that it's got a bit more of a sense of humor about itself.
It's a lot more self-aware. It's a lot more, I don't know, bonkers is what I kind of want to explain it as.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know what Triple X Return of Xander Cage is all about, it's actually the third installment of a franchise that is obviously very popular to the point where they needed to make a third one. The second one didn't even have Vin Diesel. The second one was Ice Cube. It was called Triple X, The State of Union, I believe. And the first one was, it was called Triple X. And I'm sure many people who, at the time, tried to find the movie ended up with very different results on the internet. But, let's just talk about this one, which is Return of Xander Cage. Xander Cage being Vin Diesel's character. And he's returned somehow. But let's start off with the beginning.
Neymar Jr., why is he in this movie?
Why is he in this movie? I don't know yet.
I know it's the markets. They're trying to do the thing where they plug themselves into other markets. Oh, Neymar Jr.'s in this. I'm a fan of his. Maybe I'll watch it. But
within minutes, it's presumed that he's dead because there was a massive explosion.
Samuel L. Jackson are engulfed in flames, and yet they somehow survive.
I rewatched that scene again yesterday, and there are a few things that really stuck out to me. One, the food that they're eating is clearly not hot. Like you look very closely, it's either CGI or they've just deliberately put a lot of steam coming out of the broccoli that Samuel Jackson's eating. Secondly, the other thing that really stood out to me was like how incredibly well lit that room was.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they've just lit that thing up so much. I'm convinced that wasn't even an actual takeaway. I think that could have been a set.
Well, I'm wondering, I was looking at it, the way it was shot, I'm wondering if Neymar Jr. and Samuel L. Jackson actually were on the set at the same time.
That is true. I don't think they would have been because they didn't seem to be in the same shot at the same time, did they?
And it just seemed strange that there wasn't a two-shot ever, you know?
Yeah. I have a feeling that Sam Jackson, obviously he's a very incredibly busy person, he wasn't even available for the whole film, only the beginning and the end. Spoiler alert, he comes back.
So they blew him up. Yeah.
They blew him up and then they somehow brought him back. There was no way he could have survived that. I mean, like a satellite comes from the sky and explodes the whole street and he gets engulfed in flames.
Yeah.
Even Neymar, he's like in the background, isn't he? He's like
he's still in the takeaway.
I just don't understand how they survived that.
No, they may have been on the set at the same time. It's just it seems strange that the editing made it look like maybe they weren't.
Aside from all the technicalities of how it was shot, story-wise, Neymar is literally being recruited because he's a football player, and the way that he demonstrates how good he is at his job is that he stops a robbery.
He kicks the can.
There's like this guy with a shotgun.
Yeah.
He could clearly blow both their brains out, but they didn't think about how good his football skills were.
Oh, yeah.
He gets one of those, I think it's a tissue dispenser or something like that.
Right.
He kicks it up to the air, and then he knocks the guy with the shotgun out completely.
Yeah.
From just one swift kick of this little can. But what really sold the scene to me was where Sam Jackson just goes, "Goal!" and just shouts this really elongated "Goal!" in the face of the guy who just had the can kicked in his face.
God. I love that we're examining this scene in such detail.
Weren't there two people who ran into the scene, or was it just the one person?
I think it was just the one with a shotgun.
What a great start to a film.
Yeah. It does tell you what's in store.
But yeah, we smash cut into Vin Diesel in, I think, I want to say Brazil or some sort of
rainforest.
Rainforest,
setting.
the Amazon type setting.
I would guess it's Brazil because I think he gets the Brazil game on.
Yeah, because you're fooled into believing that he's on a mission because what is, I don't know if it's just this movie or if it's just Vin Diesel himself thinking, because he produced this movie. Like this was a Vin Diesel produced. In many cases, I think this could have actually just been an indie film, but he used all his money work. I think that's probably why we got a third one of these, because Vin Diesel really wanted to milk that franchise. But yeah, I don't know if it's Vin Diesel himself or if it was somebody else who suggested it, but he's got some sort of obsession with extreme sports.
Yeah.
And then he was thinking, oh, you know what's never been done before?
Skiing through the jungle.
Like skiing through the jungle. Yeah.
Which is there's a bit where he falls off. Well, it doesn't fall. He leaps from a great height. And I've just got one of my notes is, how is he going to survive this fall? Oh, it's okay. He's got skis on. Skis, well known for being very thin and absorbent. Yeah. Of things like pressure and impact.
In the sequence, what came first? Was it skiing or was it skateboarding?
I think he
ended up skateboarding.
I think he skied through the jungle and then did some skateboarding. I did kind of like, though. I liked the sense of humor that his mission was just stealing cable.
Yeah,
I kind of liked it that his character took it as seriously as he does saving the world.
Yeah, but didn't the when he was looking at his phone, there was a countdown, right? And the top of the countdown, it said something like DEFCON 1, and I just thought, why is that the code name for
because
TV?
The game's about to kick off, Leslie.
That's how extreme Vin Diesel is. Or sorry, Xander Cage. Yeah, that sequence was quite funny, I felt. What happens next? What else have you got written down, Matt?
I don't know. For some reason, I got written down, I'm assuming that every scene where characters take each other's clothes off, they're just doing their washing. I don't know why I wrote that down.
Doesn't he take his clothes off in a plane at one point where he says, like, oh, sorry, I'm very flattered, but I don't want to sleep with you. And then the woman's like, no, I'm not going to sleep with you. But you can sleep with all these women. And then kind of...
yes.
And then suddenly all he's wearing is this like weird like sheepskin vest. Yeah. And then he looks at the camera.
No, he's got the giant coat. He's got the big coat on, hasn't he?
He's got the big coat, yeah. And then he says something like, oh, the things I do for this country.
Yeah.
And then you don't see the scene, but it's assumed that he just slept with all these women.
It's almost Austin Powers level, you know?
Yeah. I just found that really funny.
But I like to assume that they were just doing each other's washing. I've also got, would love to hear Vin Diesel sing What a Wonderful World, I think, because that song features in the movie at some point.
Does it?
But you know what? About 15, 20 minutes in, you know, as much as I can be pernickety and I can be that sort of up myself person that I am, you know, questioning, why is Neymar Jr. there? This scene's so stupid, blah, blah, blah. About 15, 20 minutes in, I thought, you know what? I'm actually getting into this. And I'm enjoying this more than perhaps some of the dour Jason Bourne films, like the last two. There's one with Matt Damon and one with Jeremy Renner. I thought,
I didn't really watch those.
God forbid if you compared it to some of the Bonds. I don't know about you.
Well,
the Bond films for me.
How do you think about like this compared to something like John Wick? Did you ever watch the John Wick films?
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed some of them, but like there are only really talking points about that movie. It's like the movie is the same. Like every movie is the same. It's like this guy, he has to go through and shoot a bunch of people to get like this good guy versus bad guy. But then there's always talking points like, oh, in the third one he kills someone with a book.
Yeah.
Or like in the first one he what's the standout point in the first one? Just a lot of guns.
The first John Wick. A lot of guns.
Yeah.
I like how John Wick is done because, I mean, if we compare it to Fast and Furious 7, Fast and Furious 7's action scenes never, you know, got my heart rate up.
Right.
Or vaguely towards excitement. Whereas the John Wick films do. And actually Triple X, I like that it's got a bit of a sense of humor. I like that it knows, lots of people have talked about this very recently, but it knows what it is.
Yeah.
It's not trying to be dour. It's not trying to be serious. It's not trying to be James Bond or Jason Bourne or anything like that. It's trying to be what it is, which is this vaguely cartoonish, almost meta, very self-aware sort of movie.
Yeah. And you can really see how surreal it gets when you start seeing people riding motorbikes into the open water.
Oh,
and then those motorbikes turn into jet skis.
that was very Batman and Robin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was my first thought.
There is one shot where you just see them riding the curl on their bikes.
Yeah,
And I just thought, this is completely First of all, how does that work? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around the technology, and I'm assuming they think the audience would buy that the rear wheels are kind of like the propellers of said jet ski.
You know what they should have had? They should have had a moment where he presses a button and the rear wheel just turns 90 degrees and just becomes the motor.
Yeah, the thing is, I heard this in a review. It's apparent that Vin Diesel, he just jumped on that bike, right?
Yeah.
To chase this guy.
Yeah.
Played by Donnie Yen. And Donnie Yen's character, I forget his name in the movie, he knows the technology of the bike, right? So he's able to just push the button. But at no point does Vin Diesel look at his bike and be like, oh, where's this button? Where's this button? He just knows how to do it.
Yeah. But what I like about that is, you'll get plenty of people arguing, more serious movies. Oh, this works because actually, you have to assume it's not on camera.
Yeah.
And what I like is this idea of Xander Cage is just a guy who sees the person he's chasing on a motorbike driving towards the open ocean, and he just thinks, well, if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it as well. And let's see what happens.
But how does he know where the button is? How does he know how the bike works? It's not like he rides bikes that turn into jet skis all the time. How does he know?
But he does. He's the sort of man that I would believe. He's just, oh, yeah, I recognise that bike. It's one of those.
It's because he's a triple X, that's why.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Because triple X looks out for other triple X's, apparently. So someone probably told him about it in the past. Which also brings me to another point. Ice Cube just turns up at the end.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to have watched the second one to really kind of fully appreciate that moment.
Yeah, for me it was, I knew he was in the series to an extent, but I didn't know to what extent.
I felt like that was a bit of a cop-out in terms of storyline-wise, because, I mean, you kind of have to take this movie as like a pinch of salt, but... grain of salt? Is that the saying? Take it with a grain of salt?
I think you need a huge rock of salt to get past the Deus Ex Machina that is him turning up at the end. Because, I think... I'm assuming this is what you're about to say, that they wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Most of the good guys were going to die.
Yeah.
So they just have someone drop in with a grenade launcher.
Yep.
And no, I agree with you that at that
with
moment...
hip-hop music, just to show you that Ice Cube's in the house.
It's kind of like, that moment in Pineapple Express where Danny McBride drives the Daewoo into the giant shed at the end.
You just got killed by a Daewoo Flannel!
How you like me now?
Shoots him in the foot, yeah.
I would like to pitch, ask you one thing. Maybe we could do a poll about this. Dumbest moment in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is it when the man with bleach blonde hair and who travels almost exclusively via backflip assures people that no one saw him?
Right.
Is it the moment where Vin Diesel's character says, "This ain't a party, this is a race"? Whatever that means. Is it the idea of sticking your head out so someone wastes their bullets in trying to shoot you? So that's your plan to get past the guy with the gun. It's to stick your head out in the way of where the gun is pointing. That's something I would do, and it is incredibly stupid. Or, fourth one, is it the line, "It's going to take 2 flushes," when Xander Cage pushes the guy out?
I forgot about that.
I don't know. What does he mean? He doesn't even do 2 flushes. He says it's going to take 2 flushes. That's it.
But what he says before that, he says something like, "I've been doing the math," kicks the guy out of the toilet, "It takes 2 flushes." Like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? It's like, you've kicked him out via a toilet.
Yeah.
There are 1,000,001 things you could have said that would have made more sense. But anyway, I don't know.
Do you have any other points?
No, those were the 4 bits that pointed out.
I've got one more to add on that.
Go on.
Or is it the point where Ruby Rose's character is sniping a bunch of people and then just randomly trapezes for no reason down the palm tree? Like, why did you have to do that? First of all, you're causing more of a just like attraction to yourself doing these flips
because you're wrapped
while
in a
you're doing those
bedsheet.
flips. Yeah, because you're wrapped in a bedsheet for absolutely no reason. And while you're trapezing down, you have no whereabouts. Someone could have just shot you while you're doing that.
Yeah.
And it took a good time for her to get down, and then,
Who's that woman stumbling about? Oh, that's that's the person who was in the tree. She's a bit dizzy because she was trying out for Cirque du Soleil. Maybe we could leave that up to the listeners.
Yeah. Maybe
What's the dumbest moment from this movie? And I say that in the nicest possible way because I did enjoy this movie. Furious 7, not so much. I don't think I'd ever watch it again. But I think watching Return of Xander Cage actually made me think, I might watch this again in a sort of, if I just want a movie like this.
Would you watch a movie called Triple X 4 Xander Cage Strikes Back? Would you?
Yeah. Or maybe just Quadruple X.
The 4
next
X's
level.
this time. They should have just kept adding more X's. Like the first one should have just been X.
X marks the spot.
And then the second one would have been X2. But then they would have been confused with the other X2 film.
X-Men.
Yeah. And then I guess the 5 X's. That would be X.
Thank you for taking the time to spell out what 5 X's would be.
Anyway,
truly great content, listeners. 5X.
And now you've reached the portion of the podcast where we are going to make up our own Vin Diesel movie. How do you think about that, Matt?
I am feeling pretty good. I feel like we have to lean into the Triple X sense of humor.
Okay.
I don't know about you though. Any sort of ideas where you would start?
My idea would be let's start off with the name of the character. What would you think about Dominic Toretto? You think about Xander Cage. What would our new Vin Diesel character be called? Something that doesn't make any sense but sounds very cool and extreme.
Yeah. So I think it was Empire did a sort of summary of Jason Statham's character names.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked to like an expert in names. I'm sure there's a proper name for that. I don't know how many people are actually called things. Well, I suppose Dominic Toretto doesn't sound too fake, but Xander Cage is definitely that sort of fake.
Yeah. Well, let's just. How about I make up a word and you make up another word, and then that will be the name of Vin Diesel's new name for this movie. Okay.
I feel like the first name needs to be vaguely normal,
Mm-hmm.
but also kind of rare.
Okay. Like
Xander.
Yeah.
Xander's not too strange, but it's also not very common. But it's the second one that really nails it.
I don't know anyone who. Well, the second name has to be an object, right? But a cool sounding object.
Yeah.
So a rare name mixed with
Hammerstein. So hammer or like hammer something. Hammerbrow.
Or maybe the surname should be Hammer because that's the object, right?
Right.
The first name has to be like Xander, a rare name, but also a legit name that would exist. So
Curtis, no.
Zoltan or something like that. Zoltan Hammer.
Zoltan Hammer. FBI.
Oh, okay. So we're doing a crime film.
Oh, go on then. Yeah, we can do a crime film.
They're all crime films, to be honest. A crime action film.
He's a rogue FBI agent,
right?
Who has been framed for something.
Mm-hmm.
This is getting very cliche now, and he has to find.
Yes.
His underpants.
Oh. No, I don't like it.
Because
I don't like
all I could think of was
all.
He needs to find a way to prove himself innocent, but that's just really cliche. Maybe
okay, well, how do we make that realistic? How do we make it so that him losing his underpants is an actual storyline? Maybe it could be the catalyst of what is to follow. So he loses his pants. Yeah.
Maybe it's where he's lost the pants, though. He loses
Okay.
his pants in a place where you do not want to lose your pants. He
Yeah, a
loses
strip
them
club.
in Buckingham Palace.
So he's gone to meet the Queen.
Atlantic
because,
crossover.
Zoltan Hammer, renowned FBI and also loser of pants.
FBI criminologist. Yeah, but it was totally
He
innocent.
lost his pants at the Buckingham Palace when he went to go meet the Queen. What's he doing there?
He's there to get a medal.
Okay.
The film opens with him at Buckingham Palace, and he's getting a medal.
Because FBI agents from overseas get medals at Buckingham Palace.
He's wearing his FBI jacket. The arms have been cut off, but it clearly says FBI in bright yellow letters on his back.
Yeah, his vest is slightly frayed, so it looks like he's made it himself.
Yeah. He's ripped the sleeves off because he's Zoltan.
Is he wearing double denim? Is it like
Oh,
denim?
he's definitely wearing jeans. He's definitely wearing jeans to this thing.
Blue jeans and a denim vest
Yeah.
that's frayed on the edges, and it says clearly on the back, FBI.
Yeah, and some work boots, some beige work boots.
Yeah, steel toe.
Yeah.
Steel toe caps.
Still take caps. When you're meeting the Queen, you got to wear the good stuff.
And maybe the vest has a hood on it as well.
Yeah.
That shows that he's serious, but he's also cool.
He's an undercover operative.
Yeah. Is he wearing glasses or no glasses?
Whenever people in the FBI,
Sunglasses.
whenever people in the FBI in this movie get promoted to undercover, they get given a pair of sunglasses and a detachable hood to go on their vest.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Oh, it's detachable. Oh, in case it gets in the way.
Yeah.
Or like on colder days, he can keep his head warm because he doesn't have any hair, does he? So I
no, he
imagine
doesn't,
it gets
does
quite
he?
breezy up there.
Yeah. Especially when you're in England visiting the Queen to get a medal.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is going to be okay, why don't we set this movie in England, right? Because he's there already, he might as well just be there for the whole movie. And something happens to the Buckingham Palace. Oh, it gets hit by a drone strike.
Okay.
Okay.
Sent by who, though? That's the mystery.
Yeah, sent by who? Jason Statham. No, that would be a bit of a cop out. What kind of actor could we have that would be unexpected, but also, would work great as a villain? Because that seems to be a very common thing these days. They'll take someone who has been established in a particular role and then throw him in there as a villain. Say, for example, I don't know,
Greg Kinnear. Let's chuck Greg Kinnear in here.
Okay.
Greg Kinnear is a guy who's just gone off the rails, but he's gotten control of some American drones.
What are some famous Greg Kinnear films?
And there are drone strikes going all over Europe, and Zoltan Hammer has to save them.
The only Greg Kinnear role that comes to mind is when he is the boss guy from Friends, where he's like just trying to win over Ross's current girlfriend.
Right.
That was Greg Kinnear, right?
Yeah, that was Greg Kinnear.
Yeah. What other movies has he been in?
Stuck on You, that well-known action flick.
Oh, yeah. What about David?
What else? I'm just looking at... Oh, he was in Little Miss Sunshine.
Okay.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he's like the fulcrum of that movie.
Okay.
He's also the psychologist in Anchorman 2.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
I thought it was quite funny in that role, where it's revealed he does have psychic powers at the end.
Yeah, and he jumps off a rock, doesn't he? And he just floats.
Yeah. See, Will Ferrell, I do have powers.
Christ. Greg Kinnear is the villain of the film. What does he do? Why has he sent a drone strike onto Zoltan Hammer?
So Greg Kinnear is shot entirely by himself.
Yeah.
So he's just in his workshop, surrounded by screens and keyboards and wireless mice.
He's a cyber terrorist.
And his sort of hair is a bit bedraggled.
He's got VR goggles on.
Maybe he's got like an inverted version of Vin Diesel's uniform. So he's former FBI, but he's gone bad.
so just sleeves. Because just sleeves and nothing underneath. If you think about it, if it's completely inverted,
I meant invert the colours. But sure, we can invert everything else. So Greg Kinnear,
Because like Vin Diesel, he's got the vest but no sleeves. He's got the trousers. But Quicken is literally just sleeves and wacky hair, like lots of hair.
Oh god.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then-
We'll shoot it twice. Once with just the sleeves and once with the normal clothes, and we'll see what it looks like in the edit.
Yeah, but this movie, I guess the rest writes itself.
Yeah, the rest writes itself. I mean, if you're listening to this and you don't know what the rest of the film is, I mean, it's very obvious.
Please, you have to design the poster for this to be the thumbnail of the. What is it? It's Vin Diesel. He's got denim vest,
Yeah.
detachable, no hair, sunglasses, denim jeans, steel toe cap boots, Greg Kinnear, lots of hair,
Yeah.
and only sleeves.
No other clothes at all.
No other clothes at all. Just,
No other
maybe
clothes
a
at all.
necklace.
Okay.
Maybe a necklace.
Okay, I'll give him a necklace and just sleeves and really. Should I give him long hair?
Or to make it like really PG-13, he could have like a really long chain, and then the pendant just covers that area. So
Mate,
it's just-
I wasn't even going to show that area. Maybe it could
Okay.
be a thing in the movie where it's shot. Where it's maybe
Like
it could be the
Beowulf.
movie where it's shot that he's got just hair just everywhere, and he's got his sleeves on, but we don't actually show him like stood up or anything. So throughout the whole movie, the audience is like, "Is he naked right now? Is he
But
still
then it
naked
gets
right now?"
revealed at the end that indeed he was naked the
Indeed, he
whole time.
was naked the entire time. Yeah, except for the sleeves.
So we have no real plot. We just
No
have
real
the
plot, but
setup
we've got
at
the
the
two
beginning,
costumes.
which is enough. I think that's
Yeah.
I think
And I
we've
feel
peaked.
it should go around Europe.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's my last note, that it goes around
Okay.
Europe. We'll get rid of the underpants. Scratch the underpants.
One final thing. What's the name of the film? Because it can't be the return of
Zoltan
Zoltan Hammer.
Zoltan Hammer, the inversion paradox.
Dun, dun, dun. Or what if it was also maybe it could just be called like Hammer Time.
Well, we could give it both.
Yeah.
Hammer time, inversion paradox.
Zoltan Hammer, the inversion paradox, aka Hammer Time.
Yeah, or maybe that's the tagline.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's it.
Make it slightly dumb. So Zoltan Hammer, the inversion paradox. Tagline: It's always hammer time. Like it kind of doesn't quite make sense.
No. Hammer Time should definitely be the tagline. How is Zoltan spelt? Is it like?
I was thinking Zoltan, but what were you thinking?
What if it was just some crazy convoluted way of spelling it, like JSOL
JZ? Like it's just completely redundant.
Yeah. But the Z has got a crazy font in it to make it look extreme. Yeah.
JZOLLTANE.
Yeah. Zoltan.
So maybe there's like a hilarious running gag where when he goes to different European countries, they pronounce his name in a different way.
Yeah.
And every time he's like, "It's just Zoltan Hammer. I'm a normal man."
Maybe hey, how about this? Every beginning of the scene, he has sleeves, but every time he gets asked how to pronounce his name, he gets so angry he rips his sleeves off.
Yeah, he rips his sleeves off, and he takes the food that is most associated with this country. So, for example, when he goes to France, he picks up finger chips and he throws it at the person who got his name wrong.
It says, what does he say? He says, you do not mess with the...
Don't mess with the hammer.
don't mess with the hammer, or I will hammer you. It's turned into a Schwarzenegger film now.
Don't mess with the hammer, or I'll hammer you. I'm not very good at Vin Diesel.
That sounds like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it. I think we've got it. So we've got what was it? What's the film called again? Zoltan Hammer, the inversion
Zoltan
paradox.
Hammer, the inversion paradox. And at the end, he figures out, hey, these drones are flying towards the ground, but to save the day, I just need to invert them so they just fly away.
Mm.
And
So this is
that's the
also kind
ending.
of like got a connection with Tenet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've just kind of stolen that idea, and for some reason, Greg Kinnear's in there with no clothes on.
Just to finish this episode off, could you remind me of your synopsis of Tenet?
Oh yeah, my synopsis of Tenet, because I rewatched it again yesterday. Because the first time I watched it, I had trouble trying to understand what the dialogue was, because the cinema I was watching it, and I'm sure loads of other people had the same problem. The sound mixing was quite hard to, understand what the dialogue was, what they were saying, due to the soundtrack and the diegetic sound of waves crashing while they were trying to clearly talk to each other, important dialogue through like a intercom.
Right.
But here was sorry, I was literally just saying all that just so I can know that the message. Here's my synopsis of Tenet. Bad Russian guy wants to end the world by being backwards. The main character has no name, and he has a partner who's from the future. So they have to take down the bad Russian man, and the only way to do that is to go so backwards that they trick the Russian into dying. That's my...
So they just go more backwards than him.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that as a pitch.
Sorry, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Tenet.
But they go backwards a lot.
They go so backwards and forwards that eventually they outsmart the person who's been backwards the whole time.
And there's your pitch. And that's why we are expert movie pitchers.
I'll talk to you about it like after this podcast is finished. But there's other things that I want to mention about Tenet. Maybe we could do a Tenet episode in the future.
We'll do a Tenet episode, yeah.
Or maybe we've already done it.
No, we haven't already done it.